Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Debbie.
Welcome to Debbie and Kelly Live. How you doing, Debbie?
I'm great. This is going to be really fun today.
Well, this is one of our favorite topics. I mean, you and I talk about this stuff all the time when we're not on camera. So,
Yeah, it's just normal everyday life. And what I thought today, especially talking about emotions and aromatherapy, is we keep it really simple. I mean, there's nothing, mystifying or crazy or weird about it, and it's just really easy to shift your state of consciousness to really help you, have a great day.
yeah, well, and let's talk about that real quick before we bring up the slides. For people who aren't familiar with essential oils, they're naturally occurring chemical compounds that come from plants. And Debbie is actually is the title certified aromatherapist?
Yes,
Is that
yeah,
right? Okay.
yes.
So she has studied this in greater detail than most. But
Yeah.
what I love about essential oils, Debbie, and feel free to add on this, is that essential oils, because they connect to our limbic system or our sense of smell, when we smell something, I have one here. What's this? Tea tree oil. When we smell something, our brain analyzes whether it's positive or whether it's something we should be afraid of. You know, like tiger poop. Like maybe I should run. There could be a tiger. Uh, Hopefully you're not familiar with that scent, but if you were, your brain would remember. Sense of smell is linked to memory to help keep us safe. But if you
Well,
smell something that smells good, you can actually interrupt negative patterns in the brain and shift to a different place because your brain chemistry changes when you smell something that you associate positively, right, Debbie?
Well, and I love that you say that because, when you smell it, it goes right to your olfactory bulb. And then, like you said, right into your limbic system, which really governs like your heartbeat, your breath rate,
Mm.
digestion. I mean, it really is the whole functioning of your body, especially when we're stressed, all of that gets disrupted. And I love that you said something that smells good because there's a lot of people out there that think, if it smells bad, maybe I need more of it. But really, it's the opposite. Like we crave what we need, and therefore it's going to smell good to us. If it doesn't smell good, then why would you force feed it on yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I have some oils that I don't love necessarily that I'll use far away from my face so I don't smell them enough because I know that there's benefit. Yeah, but for the most part, I find that if I follow my nose quite literally to something that is soothing or something that brings joy, there really is a quick mental shift. And that's because, and you were the one who taught me this, that's because our brain chemistry changes when we smell something, whether it's something positive or negative, fearful or pleasant. So if it smells good, the brain pauses when we smell something new. So if we're in a destructive pattern, like a stressful pattern or anxiety, the brain pauses and says, "What's that?" So we've interrupted the stressful pattern already. We've paused it, which is great, hard to do, and this is an easy way to do it. We've paused it, and now the brain goes, "Oh, citrus. Oh my gosh, I remember picking oranges with my mom in Florida on vacation."
Well, and
Right?
exactly, the limbic system is tied to our memories. So when you smell something good, it's going to bring a memory like that, like picking oranges with your mother, and that immediately shifts you into a good place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so cool. Well, should I bring up the slideshow?
Sure.
Okay. Shall I change the slide?
Well, and we like to use doTERRA oils. They're pure. They're sourced really well. I mean, I love doTERRA because they, help the farmers. They build infrastructure for different cultures around the world, and I think they really do good. And I've researched a lot of oils, and even through my training, there was never anything negative or any reason why we shouldn't use doTERRA. If you're using it now, use them. And if it's something that you're a little, afraid of, because it is something that is a network marketing type of a business, there are plenty of good oils out there. Aromatics International, and there's some other companies that I go to. Just get good quality oils. You're probably not going to find good quality oils at like a Walmart or some of the regular stores that you go to. You're most likely going to have to shop online or go to specialty stores.
Yep, yeah, because oils are not necessarily regulated. So some of the oils that you even find at, say, the organic grocery store, say that they're 100% oil, but they don't necessarily. That doesn't necessarily mean 100%. Say you're talking about peppermint. It doesn't mean 100% peppermint oil. It could be corn oil with essence of peppermint. So you do want to do your research ahead of time, and there are plenty of sites and sources for that where you can do your research and find a great company. Both of us tend to use, as Debbie said, doTERRA. What I like about this image is it illustrates that different categories of oils, sort of with how we associate them aromatically, are matched to different categories of chemistry. And so, for example, mints, this document references alcohol and ketones. And you don't have to remember, this is something that Debbie said to me. I'm like, I'm never going to remember this. She's like, no, no, no. Just remember mints are energizing and calming. They can be either depending on the use or how or what you associate with them. So each of these categories is similar, right, Debbie?
It is, and with the chemistry behind it does have specific benefits to them. But when we get to emotional aromatherapy, it's tied again to the limbic system and our memories. So it might be something where, like something on the lavender side, you have really great memories and it works good for you, where it calms you, it relaxes you, or depending on what lavender does, it might excite you. So it really is about using and playing with these to find out what works for you.
Yes, and the main categories that we'll touch on briefly today are mints, citrus, spices, herbs and grasses, trees and woods, and florals. And doTERRA has put together a specific um, sort of blended kit to address different things, and we'll talk about that as well. But these are the general categories, so you can use this information to sort of suit your particular needs.
Right. And again, we have the chemistry listed here. It's not that you need to know that, but the reason that we look at all these different plant types is they have so many different benefits. Like alcohols have certain benefits versus esters, phenols. And when we have this variety, then we know we're getting kind of the whole package. And because what I find is I use all of them. Like it's sometimes, I really need the citrus to like get me amped up and get me excited. Or, maybe it's kind of the grasses to ground me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when I was younger, I didn't like the florals so much, and they're starting to appeal to me more. And again, follow your nose. Follow your nose to something that has a positive association, and help that and use that to help you break old patterns or make new patterns, and start to shift the physical sensation that accompanies the emotion that you feel. And Debbie, you put together this chart. Could you talk about this a little bit?
Sure, and these are some of the common things that come up for people. So when you're feeling like anxiety or anxious or insecure, a lot of times the mints are what help you shift into something more steady, more stable. And that's kind of what this is based on, is for the majority of people, and it's not for everybody. That's why you always want to play with your oils. But we have, some standards just from people's experiences, especially like if you're feeling, grieving, sad, or ashamed, there's one of the oils called Forgive. And that's more of a woodsy type of smell. And it's interesting because there's sometimes where I really am not attracted to Forgive at all. And then there's other times where it smells glorious. And part
Mm,
of it is, what state of mind I'm in and where I'm at.
totally, totally. I like these too, and you mentioned insecure or anxious, but also apathetic is there. And what's interesting is I use all different kinds of mints for apathy. So if I wake up and I feel like I don't really want to do anything, it doesn't sound good to get on my computer, I don't want to go for a walk, whatever it might be, the mints are very motivating for me. So I like to use those that way.
Yeah, and even, you mentioned the florals. A lot of times, when we're fearful, worried, hurt, I think of like the roses or the magnolias. It feels like you're surrounded by love, and so that like brings you back to a really good, comfortable place.
Yes, and you mentioned herbs and grasses and woods for grounding. Grieving, sad, ashamed, discontented, bitter, angry. They're different emotions, but they are all well served by sort of connecting to earth and grounding.
hmm And I look at with grounding, when you're grounded, you feel powerful. When you don't feel powerful, that's when you start cocooning or hiding. And that's exactly what happens when you go through some of these emotions. So we take it from a state of, maybe grieving and when you want to separate or be away from people. Some of these scents will bring you to that grounded state where now, you look for support systems. You look for other people in your life to like bring you up and hold you together. And that's really what this is
Hmm.
all about is emotional aromatherapy is the oils are a support system, but to help you even go out and gather more support for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that you put that together so simply. And then this is just another image of a wheel that DoTerra put together. The text is small, so if you want to see this, you can email either one of us and we can get it to you. But this is sort of how they put together their emotional aromatherapy kit. So there's motivate, cheer, passion, forgive, console, and peace. And these are blends of some of these different attributes. And then in the center, you see mints, citrus, spices, herbs, grasses, trees, florals, as we've been talking about, but then the specific emotions are also attributed in the correct places. So this is kind of a neat tool.
Well, what I love about this is years ago, I found an old psychology book and it talked about states of consciousness and it looked at how you shift from like fear to excitement or from anger to focus. And I had taught it for many years in my yoga teacher training. And when doTERRA came out with these oils for those specific emotions, it all lined up. So I really felt like, wow, after they did all of the work and looked into the science and even the psychology behind it, it was so interesting how it just laid right on top of what I had learned and studied in the past and what I also taught. So even things like they have this passion oil, which I love, and that lines up when we look at a state of consciousness to transformation. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
get from a confused state where you don't know where to turn, transformation is when you step into something new for yourself. And anytime I smell passion, I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm ready for anything. It like really shifts in that direction.
I love that. And one of the things that I do with this particular set of oils, I keep these six together in one place, and I use them a lot. Actually, I use a lot of my single oils as well in the various categories. But I like that you can. And again, Debbie, I got this from you, but I like
Kelly.
that you can experiment with. Um, Identifying how you feel now and either choosing an oil that matches that to sort of be in that place and move through it so you can release it, or an oil that expresses the opposite emotion of where you are to help you transition, into that place. So you can either leapfrog or just sort of hold on to nothing. A phrase again that I stole from you. Hope you don't mind
Well, and I love
listening.
that because they have an oil that's cheer, and I always I tend to wake up and think, how am I feeling today? And if I feel like, hey, I'm kind of sad or I feel a little low, which is great to feel, but also like that's not how I want to start my day. I want to shift into something different. So I take a little cheer in my hands and smell it, and it's like, okay, it's good to process what I'm feeling, but I also have something, like you say, to catapult me into something else.
Yeah. Yep. It's a great tool, and everybody has something that works differently for them. So it's definitely something that you want to experiment with. And then once you have sort of identified a strategy for which oil to use, there are different ways to use them. You want to talk about that a little bit, Debbie?
Yeah, and this is something that I kind of do for myself. So, like in the morning, I like to put my oils on my pulse points, kind of like perfume. Like the fragrance of the day or the cologne of the day is, whatever I think I need. And typically, my day will start out where there's like a little meditation, there's a little insight, and what am I feeling right now? What do I want to accomplish for the day? And that will usually help me choose, okay, what am I going to put on? I used to always spray on like my, candy perfume or whatever perfume. And every day I'd spray on the same thing. And nowadays it's, okay, what oil is going to bring me into the day? What oil do I need after a little, self-reflection? And so that goes on my pulse points. Midday, a lot of times it's like, okay, and instead of that, 3 o'clock or after lunch boost to wake myself up. I like to pick an oil that maybe I inhale or, rub on my chest or even rub through my hair, just
Oh
to
yeah.
like get me going.
Yeah, and some of you may have diffusers, which ideally they're not going to distill hot water. It's going to be cool water so that the chemical properties in the oil are not changed by the heat. But a diffuser is a device that it's like a mister that has water in it, and you add a few drops of one or more oils and just let those come into the air. And those oil molecules hang in the air, and you can get the benefit of them for a long time with very, very little bit of oil. So you can diffuse with one of those, or you can make your own reed diffusers, which is really, really fun, and use essential oils.
And typically throughout the day, I'm constantly like putting oils in my palm, inhaling, because I know I'm going to get the immediate result that way. And
Yeah.
then I usually rub it on my arms and then my hair.
You,
It
yeah,
always
you're,
goes into my hair.
it does always wind up in your hair, which is so funny. That's why you always smell good, though.
Well, I know, and people always say, "Oh my gosh, you're like your hair smells woodsy, or your hair smells really citrusy," and now they know my secret.
It's so nice though. And what I love about the what you've listed here for any time, the oil in the palm, really you can use that anywhere, and it's such a great tool because when we go back to what you've shared, Debbie, about the limbic system and memory and the interruptive pattern of scent, anytime you need a shift, you can just put a couple drops in your palms, rub your palms together, and breathe. And you get the added benefit of taking some conscious breaths. And you've talked a lot about breathing and the power of breath on the show so far. And, there's a nervous system and brain chemistry change that comes from conscious breathing.
Well, and I think even hearing from you, don't your nephews, don't they pick up your oils like, "Oh, I need this today," or
Yes.
they play with the oils a lot.
Yeah, the nephew and my niece, who is 4, is just starting to become more interested. Kids have a stronger sense of smell than adults do, so sometimes oils can be overwhelming, depending on the oil. doTERRA actually came out with a kid collection for that reason. They're a little further diluted, but my nephews, right around the same age, both started becoming more interested, and then by the time they were 6 and 7, now they go specifically to get what they need.
Well, and I think it's a less is always more, when it comes
Yeah.
to using the oils. A drop in your palms or a roller ball that you just slide on, or even when you're diffusing, 4 or 5 drops in the diffuser. You don't have to go crazy because it's such a strong scent, but all we need is that little subtleness that can shift us in an instant.
Yeah, yes, and even if you are not overtly aware of the scent, your nervous system is. So it can be very slight and still have this emotional benefit that we're talking about. Although, there are certain ones where I go crazy. People walk in, they're like, whoa! And I'm happy as can be. So we're going to get into a few blends that you put together, Debbie. Before we look at these, you use these in a couple of different ways. One, the easiest way is just a diffuser, to have a diffuser. But I have seen you make these little, what do you call them? They're like little sticks with, are
Oh,
those,
my inhalers.
yes.
Is
Can
that what
you,
you're talking
can
about?
you talk about those?
Sure, I bought you. It looks like a Vicks inhaler. I mean, this is you buy the little
They're like
container.
this big, right?
Yes, yes. And there's a little wick inside, and you put just a few drops of oils on that wick. Like, for instance, Mark, when he has a little sinus issue or it's allergy time, I usually make him inhalers with eucalyptus, and he loves the mints and everything. And it's funny because even when he's feeling a little anxious, he's like, "How about an inhaler for anxiety?" And they work perfect. It's the same thing. You put them up to your nose and you smell them, and you can carry it around. And it's just a little bit goes a long way. But inhalers are such a neat thing. Like I've really haven't seen anything like it except for like a Vicks inhaler until I started studying aromatherapy, and people use them all the time.
What's great is, some people, almost everyone I know does like the essential oils, but some people do have scent sensitivity. And if you have someone like my aunt is like that, if you have someone like that in your life, the inhalers are great because you can have what you need and the rest of the world doesn't have to experience it at the same time.
Exactly, exactly. Or even animals. Like there's some scents that I like that aren't necessarily great for the dog, and he'll sneeze or make a sound if, we put too much of essential oil on right away. Or if I have it on my hands and now I'm putting the leash on him. Or an inhaler, it's clean, it's, just for you. It's not for the whole world, and they're perfect.
They're great. And now this particular blend, I know this is one that you have just used a lot in transition. With you, I mean, you just moved from a small island to the mainland, and things are very different. And everything is up in the air in transition. So we have copaiba, and copaiba is similar to it has similar benefits to hemp, but without the
Yeah, like a CBD oil without any of the cannabis or any,
yeah.
THC or anything that, can cause other issues that you might want to stay away from. And the copaiba is so nice because it's so calming. And it's funny that it's here because I just used it today on Buddy's ears. I
Oh yeah,
remember
the
when we
dogs
used to
love
put it
that.
on Donna and Buddy's ears, and I had my copaiba today and rubbed it on his ears, and he was just so calm all day today. I mean, it's perfect.
Donna still loves that. And then we have peppermint, which offers a little bit of uplift. Peppermint and citrus together are generally lightly energizing and also said to be connected to, the happier side of emotions. So this is nice. We've got calm and joy essentially in
Yes.
one, and that's why that you called this the feel better blend.
Yes, absolutely. And you can put it in a diffuser. You can mix it in your lotions. You can even do, these are all fine in the palm of your hand with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil, or jojoba oil, or whatever you have laying around the house. They're wonderful.
Yes, and I would say that for all of the blends that you put together specifically for today, that you could use them in those different ways. So, oh,
I know frankincense is such an amazing oil. And for me, I don't have any sensitivity to frankincense. So a lot of times I will put that neat, which is directly on the skin. So I like a little frankincense and lemon too, as a little balance. Frankincense always makes me feel a little grounded, sometimes even sleepy. So that's
hmm.
why I kind of like to pair it with the lemon, which gives you a little awakening at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I love these two together, and sometimes I will use this find balance blend. The lemon has a little bit of lift and pep, and the frankincense very soothing again and grounding. But sometimes I like to add like a cedarwood to
Mhm.
this, and just for a little bit more of that grounding. But I love this one. This is great. I use
Well,
these two together a lot.
and I like that you brought that up because when I think of like frankincense and more of like the grounding, even like kind of a woodsy tree type of a fragrance,
Yes.
looking at frankincense, cedarwood, sandalwood, arborvitae, like you can use any of those and then pair it with, rather than lemon, maybe a lime or an orange. Because I
That's
like
what I
to
was
do
gonna say.
sandalwood and lime is really nice too.
Yeah, or the orange. I mean,
Yes.
actually, the orange and the cedarwood and the frankincense is probably the combination. That's probably the citrus I use more often with these two. I love the orange and the cedarwood and the frankincense, but they're all great. They're all great, and each of us is going to have a different preference, which is really beautiful and fun to figure out what yours is.
And we talk about this a lot, but a lot of people ask both of us, Kelly, like, what's our secret weapon? How do we accomplish as much as we do in the day? And how come we always seem to be happy? I mean, we're always going through significant changes, like even our move and, selling houses, buying houses, selling businesses. Like
Selling cars.
we go through so much and people are always asking. And really, I have to say, I truly believe it's the oils. This is, this is like my life-saving kit.
Yes, I would agree with you, and I want to add on to that. And it's yes, it's the oils, but it's also the patterns that we have adopted because of the oils. It's like mini rituals come into your day. You stop to breathe for a little bit. You stop to take notice of what's happening around you, and the oils help you to remember to do those things. And it really it creates space in your day, space in your mindset, and space to create.
Absolutely.
I love this one.
Wait, I know you always love like the citrus and the peppermint. Even when we were selling houses together, it was always wild orange and peppermint in every house. It
Yes, and hey, it works.
does.
It wakes you up, but people would always come in and go, "Oh, I feel so good in here. It feels so fresh and wonderful." And I'm like, "Yeah, secret weapon."
Because sometimes we're used to like the scents in your home. Even when we look at like those plugins and different things, the smell smells like it's covering up something. Like we never want to like use a scent to cover up something.
Yeah, or
It's
to
like
hide something.
right, right. It's like to expand and open up and really have like some wonderful experience versus, ooh, I wonder what they're trying to hide.
Right. Oh, peace out. I like how you labeled these. Well, and you mentioned this lavender and frankincense. And for some, as you said, Debbie, lavender can be more stimulating. For many, it's considered very calming, especially when paired with frankincense. But you can find another oil. You might substitute another floral that works. I think rose and frankincense are
Mm.
quite lovely too.
Well, even like the peppermints, for a lot of people think of peppermint as something that, can be very awakening. But
Hmm.
yet, like with peppermint, sometimes you breathe better, you just feel clearer. It can be a nice relaxation type of an oil. Like a lot of times, peppermint or breathe next to the bed. Breathe is another type of peppermint oil from doTERRA.
Peppermint,
Those,
eucalyptus,
yeah,
yeah.
those help me sleep. So it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, they're keeping me up all night. It just gives me more of a clearer sense and clearer breathing.
And like you said, sometimes the very same oil can have a different purpose at a different time of day or a different purpose depending on your current mindset. So it's really beautiful and so much fun to play with.
It is. I mean, that's the part of it is to use what works. Like we have so many options and, we have so many tools that we need to create rituals around so that, we can live the life that we want and, move through. It's all about, not making everything positive or happy or pretending things are going well. It's, yeah, how can we, shift and navigate and, transition well?
Absolutely, absolutely. And these are one tool. And what I think is beautiful about essential oils is they open and unlock the door to other tools that we can use. And when used concurrently with other tools to help you feel healthy or to help you just feel in a better state of mind or in a different state of mind, they're really, really effective and powerful. This is something you and I could talk about for hours, and we have, and we do, and we will. But for now, we've reached the end of our little Wednesday night show. Is there anything you'd like to add, Debbie, before we close today?
Well, I would say just go out and try some. Try to find good quality. And again, not from discount stores or things like that. Go to a nice, reputable health food store. Ask the person there. Go online, do the research yourself, and pick out what you need and try it. And see if you can turn it into a ritual for the day. Maybe, you sit and you pause for a moment, or you practice a little meditation, or, you do some breathing work and try the oils to see how they can enhance your life.
And if you're interested in exploring more one on one, Debbie is a certified aromatherapist. She can help you select specific oils, and you can just reach out to her via deborahwilliamson.com to set up an appointment and do an initial consult and that type of thing. She can also help you with doTERRA specifically if you like, but you don't, it does, again, it doesn't have to be doTERRA. But if you are interested in that, she can tell you a lot more about
And
that
if
too.
you've never tried an inhaler, contact me. They're great.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Always great to have you here with us live and then in the replay. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. If you have questions, pop them in the comments or reach out again. You can find our contact details at deborahwilliamson.com, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you all. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Debbie. See you soon.